Okay, so it's hit the you know the hour here. So hi everyone, thanks for joining JASCI's webinar series today. We're fortunate enough to have Craig Walensky, our CEO and co-founder, join us today. He's going to be running through his thoughts on how AI is changing the industry in WMS and robotics, and how our system JASCI is catering towards that. So without further ado, Craig, I'll hand things over to you and we can get started here.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining as well. So I'm going to take us through really AI technology is broader than just warehouse management, but I'm going to be focusing a lot in the warehouse management sector because that's where we work and a lot of others as well. I'm fairly passionate about this stuff where I'm heavily involved in a lot of dev work and where this is leading to. So if I talk too much, James, tell me. All right. Now, some of this we have right now, right? So we're going to go through what we have and what we're working on, and some of it's futuristic, but not too far in the future as well. But this is all really real, and this is happening. So I'll take us through the webinar here real quick. So we're going to be talking about a few topics here that we had discussed. One of them is going to be, we made some claims here, what we'll learn here in the webinar, AI-driven configurations. We'll talk about self-configuring workflows, real-time optimization, which is another big one for AI. A lot of people are focusing on analytics and intelligence. How does it think? How does it give you clues on how it's learning itself and how it's operating? So we'll go through a lot of that. We were going to do a live demo, but I'll show you some screens here. Team's pretty busy right now. So, but we can set up individual live demonstrations. It's live in our platform today, and then we can do some Q&A. So if that's okay, let's get started. I want to start off with what is AI? I'll bet you if we ask 10 different people, we'll get 10 different answers, and this is my different answer, right? So it's a little wordy here, but AI is going to be used across the cycle. We are starting with, leveraging AI for some critical pieces that have really affected the industry and affected customers. The ability to implement has taken a long time for customers. The ability to configure, as these systems get bigger, they're more intense. And how do you configure them? How do you operate them? How do you optimize them? We're also going to be talking about how it looks into the predictive analytics, how it gives you clues in how you operate, what's in a day in the life of. And how do you define, big thing is defining workflows, business rules, operating models, making recommendations, validating, all that is part of the implementation and configuration process. We've seen customers where their businesses have changed. Markets have changed, and they need to adapt to those without reinstalling the platform from scratch. Maybe you were doing e-commerce and you're getting into wholesale. Maybe you're in wholesale and you're getting into e-commerce. Maybe you're omni-channel and you want to optimize how you run both flows at the same time. So we have to, as software technologists, we have to give you the tools. That's our job, is to give you the tools to really optimize and move your businesses forward. And that's why I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate because I want you to succeed. I want customers. I want the industry to succeed. And that's what makes me excited about it. And what is AI? And this is another slide. This is not all of them. This is just a subset, but I thought these were important. So guided system configuration for faster implementations. No one wants to implement a system that takes 6 to 12 months. They want to do it quicker. They want, value quicker. They want continuous workflow optimization. Everyone wants to see, how do I do this more efficiently? Whether it's receiving, It's a put away process, replenishment, picking, packing, shipping, all those, loading, all those different things. How do I continuously optimize them without feeling scared or not empowered to do it? Not requiring constant coding, to do it as well. We all know SOWs. And we want to reduce that. I'm not saying it's going to get rid of everything. I mean, it's going to be a gradual approach to it, but this is where it's headed. One of the big things we've seen in warehouses is if you're not slotted correctly, you really can't operate efficiently. I mean, it's just what it is. You're going to have lots of travel. It's just not ever, you're never really going to be balanced. And so, how do we leverage AI with slotting? How do we handle labor balancing? So, and this is a big challenge for warehouse operators today. How do I make sure my labor is in the right places so I can get my work done? You know, and how do I balance those workers, in the operation? How do I get hints and clues? Coordinating people in robotics. So as we do add automation in, could be conveyors, could be robotics and people. How do we optimize this workflow? You're going to hear me talk about workflow a lot. When we started JASCI, one of the big premises of JASCI was getting out of the business of hard-coded workflow. So JASCI designed the industry's first microservices workflow platform. The reason why I can say it's the first is we actually got the patent for it, microservices workflow, like a drag and drop workflow system, back in 2020. So that's why I can say we were the first. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten the patent for it. And actually, this has helped us a lot in the AI side. Now, how is our workflow system helping us in the AI side? Well, it turns out the microservices workflow technology works well in an AI agent technology. And what does that mean? A lot of your AI agents technology out there that are optimizing workflows are based on microservices and calls in a workflow type setting. And it really, so we're leveraging our own workflow system for these AI agents. And that's what made it easier for us to do this. Otherwise, it would have been a pretty tall task. So the other one is order management, dynamic order, and prioritization. You're going to hear the term waveless. How does it make decisions? How does it decide, what orders to perform, and there's other factors. There's cutoff times. There's cutoff times for trailers at dock doors. There's cutoff times for carriers, for parcel carriers. There's cutoff times for same day, next day, 2 day. And how does the system prioritize work that if I have same day, maybe I should get that done first, or next day, and then I work on the others, or how do I mix them in if I don't have enough work? This is a big one, and it may not mean a lot to people, but it means a lot to us as software people. Automated issue detection and root cause analysis. This is a big area where someone reports an issue, and we have to do lots of digging and research on it. And how do we leverage AI technology to find the issue before we even know about it, detect it, look at the program, and analyze it? Really cool stuff. We're actually doing this right now. Operational insights, big one, but not just like reporting, not just people think about operational insights and reporting as an after the fact. I'm going to have a reporting system where I can have an AI like a ChatGPT or a Claude or whatever you want to use to look at that data and kind of dig through it and give me insights. That's great, but there's also operational, like real time. I'm working, and how is it helping me, through my workday? So it's both operational and what I call an after the fact. And we had an invention here as well, something called gravity. We invented, a few years ago. We actually got the patent on that, which is actionable analytics. And we're really using our gravity system to embedding AI into the gravity system to give us more operational insights. and I'll go through that. We also, this is a big one, might not be big for everyone, but 3PL billing was a constant hard coded effort. So we built an AI a system that allows the customer to create their own billing parameters and walks them through how to set up 3PL billing without having to go to, a 4-year college for it. And another area is predictive forecasting for volume and capacity. How do I predict how much labor I'm going to need? Obviously you'll have predictive forecasting on products, but many companies will be doing that. I'm just going to focus more on the WMS side. So AI driven warehouse configuration and execution. This is the big area that we've been working on. How do we put the power back in the customer's hands where the customer can be self-guided through an implementation process? And this is a really important piece. And it affected us too, because how do we have even enough people to handle all the implementations or partners? So and we work with customers on this as well, but this is a big piece of it. And how do we get time to value a lot quicker for companies? And not only the implementation, but after the fact, how does the customer go back and be able to configure or change things? So there's two paths of success, that we have at JASCI. One is the AI rapid deployment. So you take our out of the box, platform, omni-channel that can do B2C and B2B, and basically set up your tenancy. That's very quick. We provide, a certain amount of hours of coaching, the self-service configuration with AI, and you get access to the full workflow documentation. And, where our goal is to have a go live happen between 30 and 60 days. Now, there's other factors, there's integrations and other things you need to consider, whether that's possible. We pre-built, and many companies we pre-built many integrations to ERP platforms and to channels like marketplaces and web stores to make that even quicker. But a lot of times there'll be API integrations that customers may want to perform on their own, which could push those dates out. But we want to configure, ready to go as soon as possible. The other one is what we're calling the enterprise custom, where there's just a unique business and they do lots of different things. It's more of a white glove project. That's your typical implementation that we're used to in the industry. However, what's interesting is we are finding that even those big enterprise customers want more of the AI rapid deployment as well. And we're finding that it's possible, right, to do a lot of things in the self-guided implementation versus the traditional sit down, approach of taking you through a long-term implementation. Now we offer both, but this is for the customers to guide through. So our AI assistant is called Ada. And that's the name that we're using for our AI assistant. And it's a chat type of, assisted implementation. And it's designed for onboarding. It's designed for a configurator. And it's also designed to basically configure your workflows and your process. So you have the ability to change how you do your receiving, how you're doing your put away, how you want to do your picking through this AI guided process. So you can basically set up your own workflows. Now, we also have a full drag and drop workflow editor that allows you, or canvas that allows you to drag and drop from our microservices library and create your workflows. But this makes it a lot simpler and easier. That it's just more of a chat session than it is trying to be an IT expert. Okay, and here's what it kind of looks like. Hello, I'm Ada, and how can I assist you today? What would you like to do? Would you like to do system settings, users, security, permissions, menus? Would you want to perform inbound inventory management, picking, packing, shipping? integrations. It takes you through the process. And as you go through, it's going to kind of take you through how you want the rules to work, and really step by step take you through the implementation and configuration process. The traditional process that we've all used, and this is not just in warehouse management, but this is in ERP configurations, this is in CRM. Almost every system you go to today in the industry, you literally have to go to control screens or maintenance screens or setup screens and do all this setup work and learn all these different things. And we're finding with the AI, we don't need all those anymore. You pull up your AI assistant to do it. And we predict right now that will be the future right now, even beyond WMS, but for ERP platforms, CRM, all those different systems, even integration platforms will be moving towards that. When they get there, I don't know. We did file quick on this, so we do have a patent pending for the technology, because we realize that this is where it would ultimately flow. So in the workflow optimization, we have our workflow editor. So you'll be able to set up your processes in the workflow system through the AI, which means you don't necessarily have to be an IT expert to set up your workflows anymore. It'll help you set them up, and it'll help you also put them in the right sequence. So as you start to create or look at our base workflows and say, I want to modify the workflow, you'll be able to modify the workflow in a much easier fashion, and it'll remove the ability to make mistakes, with these workflows, because in the workflow editor, you can, it's possible to create very complex workflows. And are they in the right sequence? Am I going to get an error? Is this a valid workflow? So the AI validates it as you're creating your workflows. So some other concepts we're working on, this is really, I'm heavily into this right now, is like real-time optimization. So when we look at real-time optimization, how do we run an operation? And there are many different parameters of running an operation. You have your orders, you have your inbound, you have your replenishments, and they all kind of work together, you know. And as you're working, but how do we make it easier? How do we make it easier to operate? How do we make it so you don't have to, in your head or manually, make sure that all this timing is happening properly? And how does the AI figure out, give you an estimated ETA for something? So here's an example of loading, where you're releasing orders, you're picking them, you may have compliance, you may have staging, and maybe loading. This is an example of like a wholesale order that's going to go LTL or FTL. And then, I have cutoff times. So when, how long do I want, a trailer to be at a door? What's the cutoff time? Is it 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 120 minutes? And what is ETA, and how do I time all this? And then what is my ETA, and am I on track or am I off track? And this is a lot of times in these operations, it's a guessing thing. It's a guessing event. And also for e-commerce, where I may have my hot orders, I may have my same day, I may have my next day, I may have 2-day orders, ground. And how does the system prioritize those orders? And I may have cutoff times for my carriers as well. So how do I marry these picking events and packing and all those events to my cutoff times of the carriers that I need to in order to perform that work? So we've already, conceptualized how that's going to work. We're working on it to make it easier for operators to operate without a guessing game, without having manual decisions of, oh, I got to release this wave. Oh, I got to track that. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. Or did we get them out? Giving you guided things visually, but kind of doing the calculations as you work. Here's another one, and this is on our website. A lot of this stuff is on our website today, so you can go there as well. The Slotting is a ripe one for AI, right? How do I figure out where things need to go to get the most efficiency possible? And this is a big area. And we built an AI to the slotting, so it makes all these decisions in real time. It looks at past performance. It could look at forecasting, and it goes through all these processes to make sure you're slotted accurately. Not only does it look at how to slot you accurately, but it's also looking at how do I not have to move things constantly? So a lot of times warehouse will be not slotted right. Maybe they'll have multiple locations for a SKU and now they need to consolidate it, all because there wasn't some smart system behind it. So we want to eliminate warehouses. We already are eliminating. It's already working. We have this implemented. So warehouses don't have to worry that they have multiple locations with the same inventory because we're going to drive picks to pick out of locations and flag them to be pick clean and make them available. Also, warehouses spend a lot of time where they bring in crews, they look at spreadsheets, and they're like, we're going to move product because we got to get it in better locations so we can pick faster. Totally get it. But who wants to spend their time moving product around at night and bringing in night crews to do it? It's really disruptive. And why even do it? So if you can have it run dynamically all day where it's making decisions and flagging location be pick clean, looking at velocity of product, where it should be located, it'll reduce all that work. Will reduce it 100%? I can't say it'll reduce 100%, but it'll reduce it significantly. Like why even go through it if it's constantly optimizing? You won't. We find that a lot of our customers don't. They don't move product around. They don't have to bring in night crews to move it. And this is a big piece of the platform. So then we keep on adding to it. But it's on the website. You can check that out as well. Another area to consider is robotics orchestration. We have our AI for it is called ALITA, Autonomous Labor Intelligent Dynamic Assignment. So we have implementations today where we have automation. We have staff and we have automation. And we may have AMRs, we may have AGVs, we may even have conveyors as part of it. Just because you have robotics doesn't mean you eliminate all the conveyors. There may be a need for conveyors and print and apply and different things and outbound sorters. And robotics are getting better to do that, to sort out product as well. But there may be a mix. And then how do you orchestrate it? We have one client where we're using robotics to basically pick layers off pallets and create new pallets. And then when they're done, it goes through stretch wrap, automatic labeling, conveyor. And then when it's done, an AGV will automatically pick it up and bring it to the outbound staging. So that requires orchestration and smart layers. If anyone has done these projects, you could be in a coding, I'm not going to call it nightmare, but I call it science experiments. You could be in a coding science experiment for many, many months, even years, to really optimize it and find that you really didn't get the benefit that you were ultimately looking for. And I'm not saying not to do these things. I'm saying we all must progress. I mean, life doesn't stop. You have to progress and do things better. However, we have to use logic to make it easier. And on our website today, and I actually may have this for you. I could actually probably show this, on our website here. But there's just a quick view here where we actually created use cases so that we don't get into robotics science experiments. So like pallet to person, how do we do pallet to a person or pallet to robotic arm to build outbound pallets? And this is something you can go through on our website here. Here's another use case for tote to person. There's use cases for how we store inventory in racks or cabinets and various things, and it's goods to person. And then but we tie in the overall workflows for receiving, for put away, for decanting into totes, all the other things that you may not think about, we pull together. And then you'll have another thing where we're doing layer picking. How do you make your layer picking work better? These are an AMR and AGV automation. How do we leverage AMRs in our operation? When do we want to use an AGV versus an AMR? Which is better for the task? And how do we, make that work, with other factors that we go through. But this is something you can go through on the website as well. It's all on there. And then you go through our native robotics thing as well. A lot of these concepts may be similar to things you're thinking about today as well. And you can go through those. And then there'll be the features that you can go through of AI, the AI configuration and AI slotting and various things, you can go through. Some of it's not AI, like compliance labels, which, is really important to operations, having compliance and how do you work it in? It's not AI, but it's part of the whole process of running warehouse operations today. And how do you make that, all work? Okay. So this is just meant for a primer for, where are we going with it? Now, I can't speak for everyone else, what they're doing in the industry. I can only speak to what we're looking at, for our customer base and things that we see. We like to be innovators, so we look at it and when we think that this is real and this is happening, we jump in. And I can say right now, and I think everyone realizes it today, it's real. AI is moving forward, and we've adopted it in the platform, and we will continue to evolve. It's a work in progress. We take what we're doing is we're taking the most important things to start on first, and then you go to the less important, right, ones. But where do our customers and where does the industry get the best value for it? How do we bring the tools to bear for you to grow your businesses? So that's what I have for this webinar. And then if there's any questions, we can take some questions, or we can end, and you can always get back to us later as well.
Yeah, thanks guys, and thanks Greg. If anyone wants to put anything in the chat, we'll take a look now. If not, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll speak soon.